What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Listener Don't podcast. As you can see, we've already started yelling, but
We were speaking
it's
calm.
good to be back. I'm Taylor.
It's your boy Trey.
Boy, Shabazz is back. You already know.
And yeah, we got some stuff to talk about today, boys. But where do you want to start? I mean, we could pick up where
Hey,
we
you
just
know
were.
what? I ain't gonna lie. We gonna. It's
I
only
wanted to
it's
clear
only
the
fair.
misconception whenever we do get the chance.
It's only fair because every other artist, you know what I'm saying, who had a project drop, you know, we start off with them.
That's true.
My nigga Drake dropped. Honestly, never mind.
Surprise
It's been
album.
it was a surprise album. A lot of people had mixed reviews, you know what I'm saying? I probably seen more negative reviews than I seen positive, but for me personally, I don't
That's
care
because
what
niggas
nobody-
don't like house music, and I want to talk about that. But you can start.
Yo, a lot of these niggas are like too tough for their own good. It's like, yo, okay, all right, whatever. You like, I get it, but I'm bumping Drake. I don't give a fuck with
I don't
nobody.
know anybody
say-
who's like a huge Drake fan that's too tough. Like,
No, I'm saying I'm saying like,
bro, I know where you're
I'm
going with
saying
that.
niggas are too tough to listen to Drake.
yeah, I do know people who claim they didn't,
Oh.
they don't want to be into Drake because of that, but they lying.
Bro,
They
I
definitely
fuck
are
with
lying
Drake.
because
I ain't gonna.
Somebody
He ain't
listening
become
to
the artist of the decade for nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will say initially I was thrown off because he didn't rap as much as you know what I mean? Like I was expecting more rapping on there, but when I fully listened to the project, I think I fully listened to it. I think I gave it a whole spin Friday, and then I gave it the whole album like 2 spins on Saturday. And that's how I came to a conclusion, like, I do fuck with this album. Like, the music, like, this was my critique on Drake's past projects, is that
This nigga left his ring wrong.
because I was like, damn, is that, I think OVO.
nah, shut up, man, shut up.
But now, my critiques on his past projects is that he's one of them artists that gotta cater to way too many audiences, and so when I listen to his album, it sound everywhere. But this album, it made me happy because one, it sounded like the nigga was actually inspired when he made it, and two, it sounded cohesive. Like he had like a flow through the album. It was only 14 songs, so it was easily digestible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like over the top. It was like one of his more, I mean, regardless of how other people feel about it, to me, in my opinion, it was one of his more solid projects. Probably since like maybe like Nothing Was the Same, or if you reading it, It's Too Late. But that was a mixtape, so I don't know if really people really count that or whatever because it was a mixtape. But I'd say since Nothing Was the Same, like it's been his most solid project of it flowing, it being digestible, all of that shit. Like I fuck with Sticky. I fuck with Liability. Sounds like one of the reasons why I fuck with Liability so much, because it sounds like old Drake. Like old Drake was heavily, you can hear it in his music, like he was heavily influenced by Houston. So it sounded like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, he going back to some of the like Houston roots that he was like fucking when we first started. It's like, damn, like I'm hearing shit and it's like, man, this dude really do sound like, you know, he's having fun and sound inspired again. And also overall, I don't know if anybody else felt this or whatever, but the project in general sounded very, very Kanye inspired. And when I say that, it was like he wasn't afraid to step out of the box. He wasn't afraid to be creative, try new things. And also, this whole project gave me, now, obviously it doesn't sound exactly the same, but in terms of like creativity and stepping out of the box and how a lot of people like critique this initially, it reminded me of when Kanye dropped Heartbreaking the 808s. Like that's the same kind of like feeling I was getting as far as like creativity, and then like the whole project being like mostly singing and stuff like that. And I fucked with Heartbreak and the 808s. So like this was like
808s and heartbreaks. Just
808s and a heartbreak. Okay, whatever. All right,
saying.
niggas know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Do they?
The album with the heart on it. That's Kanye. All right,
just
y'all
saying.
niggas know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I was getting like that same vibe, and yeah, I mean overall, I really I fucked with the project. I ain't gonna lie, man. I really did.
Can I? So I actually have a pretty big like what do I want to say? Interpretation on this. So as you know, I'm not like a huge Drake fan or anything. So obviously, I have not listened to Honestly Nevermind. I have maybe heard a few snippets of a few songs,
Right.
But I have seen all the reactions from it, and from what I can tell, and this is actually one of my critiques of Drake in particular, but like I'm happy that he made this album because, like you said, he has to cater to too many people.
Exactly.
Being the type of artist that he is, he's
Yes.
trying to cater to everybody at once, which is impossible. So he's always going to alienate somebody being too big, which happens to a lot of artists when they reach that level. But so I think that the reason that this album is getting mostly negative feedback is because from what it sounds like I said, I haven't listened to it, but from what it sounds like, he actually tried doing something different. And one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of Drake is because I feel like all his shit sounds the same. Now, whether you agree with me or not, that's fine. But like, in my personal opinion, anytime somebody puts on Drake, I cannot tell what year it's from. I'm like, cool, this is Drake. Like, he's just doing Drake again, right? And I understand because like he does appeal to more of like, I ain't saying he's not a rapper, but he has to appeal to the pop side, right? He's doing what's popular. He knows how to catch people's ear. He knows how to get on the radio and make the charts and shit. So obviously his stuff is gonna sound like he got a formula. He follows the formula. He make money. He do big. But it sounds like this time he decided to go out the box a little bit. And although people always claim that that's what they want, every time artists do it, they get mad. Every single time artists do it, they get mad, especially big ones like Drake. So I just think this is a really prime example of the hypocrisy in this community, where it's like, oh, this nigga always doing the same shit, bro, on me. Because when CLB dropped, I heard some of the same shit. I ain't listened to it again. I have had to hear some of the radio hits, but like they were like, man, Drake just make the same thing, wooty woo.
Yeah,
that's how I felt about CLB for sure.
Almost a year, not even a year later, here comes Honestly Nevermind. Very different from what I understand. Everybody mad, right? What they wanted was the same thing.
Yeah,
over
exactly.
Again, even though they complain about it, it's just another thing that proves that you can't please people with art all the time and stuff. But I'm probably not gonna listen to it just because, like, it's like it's Drake. I'm not super interested. If it comes on in somebody else's car, maybe I'll listen to it. But I have heard fans of Drake. They seem to be pretty split, which is bound to happen with huge artists like this. Some of them are like, yeah, it was cool. Nobody has told me it's amazing, but I have heard a lot of people say it's trash. And I think it's just because they're holding on to what they wanted it to sound like and how it sounded like something completely different. You know
also,
what I mean?
to just briefly interject, people did the same thing with Pusha T and Kendrick album when it came out this year. Like I had like big Pusha T and Kendrick fans be like, I don't know how I feel about this project. And I was like, bro, what? This shit,
I know a lot of people. A lot of
And-
people were on this whole, Kendrick just dropped some mid, which is a fucking lie.
I feel like people just say that for shock value.
I think
like you can't mean that.
it's
like,
just
you
a new
can't
wave of
mean
being
that.
like anti. You know what I'm saying?
It's like,
because the problem is that Kendrick album debuted at #1. Every single song on that album hit the charts, like the top like 30. Like it was crazy, right? Every single song. I don't know the last time that happened, but it's definitely been a minute with an artist. And they were just like, damn, it's popular right now. If I say it's not popular, I'm cool. Right? Like people love doing that, bro. It's just being anti.
Be edgy.
They just love to do it. So, and Pusha T's album did well from what I saw too. So I think they were doing the same thing with him.
Yeah.
But it was bound to happen with Kendrick though, because he went too long, like not too long, but he went such a long time without dropping that he came back with this double album project, and people just wanted to, which I fucking, like I said, I love that album, and the fact that he did try a bunch of new stuff and it doesn't sound like any of his other music is one of the reasons. That's something I look for in artists. I like seeing them grow and change and do different things. Obviously, they can still keep the same like kernel of them, but it don't sound like Good Kid, Mad City. It don't sound like To Pimp a Butterfly. It damn sure don't sound like Damn. Like it's just like completely different shit.
Which is why I fucked with Drake's new album, because it ain't sound like none of his other projects.
And I can respect that. Like I understand that, you know.
It's interesting you say like the reason you don't like Drake because you think all his shit sound the same, and that's valid, especially recently, I will say. But one of the things I always admired about Drake is that he's actually not afraid to step outside the box. Like, because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes people will clown him and be like, oh, he always, the joke about, oh, he always appropriating some other culture by, with the Afrobeat shit. And I'm just like,
that's funny.
Yeah, but
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I hear that.
But I stay on Twitter. So, no, I actually, this album, I will say I liked it better than Certified Lover Boy because one of my knocks on Certified Lover Boy was like I've heard it before, and not the actual album, but just like the sound, you know.
Both
and
for me. Both for me. Half that I said it like on 2 or 3 episodes of the podcast, but half that album leaked like earlier that year in the spring, and also it was just like when I finally heard the music on CLB. First of all, this was one of Drake's projects where it's like I heard the title and the music matched the title. Drake dropped Certified Lover Boy and was like had songs on there like No Friends in the Industry. And he's like,
I thought you was talking about love, nigga.
Like, bro, you drop a album called Certified Lover Boy. I'm expecting
and with the album cover.
Yeah, and with I'm expecting it to sound like what his new album is. Oh. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this is, but what?
No, I mean, no, I agree. And I was just saying, like, as far as the album goes, the new album, I mean, it's cool. I like it. I don't think it's like amazing or anything like that, but I do like it better than the last one. And it's a few songs on there that I actually did save in my library, so I will say that much. But yeah, my whole thing with Drake is that I just really hope that he like maybe not continue to step outside the box, because when you're a big artist like that, you don't want to alienate your audience. But at the same time, like, when you are a big artist like that, you have to find ways to keep growing. And so I hope that he just continues to do that. And, you know, maybe just, I mean, obviously he just dropped this, so I don't know when we get another one. But, you know, I just hope that he continues to kind of like not be afraid to be like, well, I'm going to do this and this. And, you know, I don't know. And hopefully it caters to every audience.
So I have a prediction. I think that Drake, like, obviously, right, he's fucking huge. There are people who consider him the GOAT. Even if they don't consider him the GOAT, they got to talk about him. Right. He's one of the big 3 people talk about now. I think Drake has reached a point in his career now, which I would argue he had reached a little while ago, that we're seeing like people that weren't a part of like quote unquote our generation's like rap superstars, where they're so big that it don't matter no more. I think Drake is getting to the point where he can make whatever the fuck he want, and it's cool. Like, he's getting to the level that like Kanye and Beyonce,
he's an artist now,
and Jay-Z are, right?
He's not like rapper.
No way. See what when they start, they have to do stuff to keep themselves like afloat and keep themselves relevant and stuff, right? But then eventually you see the shift, right? They do whatever the fuck they want, right?
If you're lucky, and not every artist
can do that. Not every artist survives doing it, but like people can do that, and like, I actually love that more. Like, that's when I usually become more interested in people. Eminem reached that a little while ago. Jay-Z reached it. Kanye definitely reached it like a while ago. Although I would argue Kanye always gave less of a fuck than everybody else. And I love that. Like, I'm hoping that he continues down that. I could be wrong, but him, Kendrick, and Cole are like reaching like that sort of like age part and they like their stardom is getting super big, where like they don't have to make everything that like people just want to hear and shit. Like when Cole dropped For Your Eyes Only, that was the first time I keyed into that. I was like, wow, this is some cool ass personal shit. He don't give a fuck about like, you know what I'm saying, doing all this. Like, yeah, it had a couple bangers on there, but it was different. And I was like, I fuck with that. I fuck with that. Same thing with well, honestly, Kendrick, he mostly has like, he's always been like the more of the creative one to do like the shit that he wants to do. But like Mr. Morale, straight up, like just amazing, right? But all like personal, heartfelt shit that he really wanted to make and stuff. He took that 5-year hiatus so he could focus on that shit. And then maybe Drake would have a hiatus too, you know, because Drake is definitely the most consistent one out of all of them, right? He stayed dropping shit. It hasn't even been a year since he dropped CLB, right? Before that, like, it actually had been a little while since he dropped Scorpio. Was that the name of the previous one?
Scorpion.
Yeah,
Scorpion. My bad.
Yeah. Scorpion. That was close.
But yeah, I just think it'd be really interesting if that happened. Like, I feel like that would be something that a lot of people wouldn't expect. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I would say too. For me, this is like this is not only like 808s and a heartbreak, but this is also to me like Drake's version of Lil Wayne's like rebirth. Like when Lil Wayne dropped the rock album, it like threw a lot of people off. Like, especially around that, like, during that time, you know what I'm saying? People was like, what, you doing rock songs? This trash, this sound trash, and all that other, but it was Lil Wayne stepping out of his box and everything, you know what I mean? And, you know, being creative, and I like that album, because, again, I like it when, just like you guys were saying, I like it when they step out the box and like, be because you can tell, like, they're really inspired to, like, do that type of music. And that's another one of my critiques with CLB is, like, CLB sounded like when he made that album, it's to me it sounded like it was a hassle. Like he had to feed people the same thing again. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he was like mad about it. He was like, here go another, piece of chicken, bro. Like,
yeah, it's like
just the way you like it.
All right, here, this is what y'all want. Here go a couple rap songs that y'all want. Here go some fucking R&B songs that y'all want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, here go some pop shit or whatever. It's like, well, like, yeah, it didn't sound like it was inspired. It kind of sounded like it was a hassle. And yeah, it sounded like I had heard a lot of those songs before, which, I mean, in a sense, probably have, in a sense of like to me, it just felt like he had to use the same format. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, like I was getting tired of that format.
Right.
Yeah.
And so with this album, I mean, with it being a surprise album, so like it's like I couldn't really be mad at it because it was a surprise album. Like it came out of nowhere. He was just like, here goes some new music. Like he didn't like do promo for this or nothing, like build a bunch of hype and have people thinking, oh, it's gonna sound this way or nothing. He just dropped it and was like, here y'all go. If like y'all fuck with it, you fuck with it. If you don't, you don't, or whatever type shit. But yeah, I mean, overall, like I think that too, this is another reason why I like this is because again, like this is like, it actually sounds like an album to me. Like it don't sound like a bunch of singles that he put together and was like, here's an album. Like his other albums, the different songs sound good individually, but as a project, it didn't really like...
It didn't mesh.
Yeah, it didn't mesh. But this one, maybe as singles or whatever, it's not that great. But if listening to it like as a cohesive project, it definitely sounds good.
Yeah, I've come to appreciate like music as projects more.
Yes.
Overall, as I've gotten older, that's not something I really gave a fuck about. Like when I was like younger, like a teenager or anything. And I think I want to say that my older brother really made me think about this. But like when I listen to like albums now, I think of them as like a project instead. Especially with how certain artists do their things, which I think is really cool. Like when Royce his last album made me feel like that. His last two albums actually, The Book of Ryan was like, it felt like I was reading a fucking book. And then he had damn, what's the name of
the one that
the Allegory?
Yeah,
Is
the
that
Allegory.
yeah.
The Allegory was really fucking good. I was
yes,
like, oh,
that
wow,
one was
this is
actually
a good project.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I would definitely co-sign the Allegory. I really fucked with that album.
I remember when it came out, we talked about it like every day.
Yeah, bro, I had to talk about that album every day. I was like, yo, this shit heat, nigga.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think because I think you're right. Like just because he decided to do this, because it's classified as like a dance album too. I saw screenshots of that on the internet, right? So like the same thing happened. Obviously not as like on that big of a scale, but like Childish Gambino when he dropped his when he did Awaken My Love, right? I was super surprised because this was Funny Rap Man, right? Like
I love that album,
and he does stuff, and you're gonna giggle a little bit. He was kind of like he walked so Lil Dicky could run. That's how I think about it. Except he was black, right?
Yeah.
And he came out with Awaken My Love, and I was like, this is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. Like that's one of my favorite solo
and
albums.
that was you. I mean, you could probably also count that as an experimental album. Like he was doing all type, he did all types of shit on that album.
Yes.
He was changing his voice and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I think people should stop trying to put
artists.
That
shit was amazing.
Yeah, I think people should stop trying to put artists in a box, man. Like
for sure.
I get like initially you're gonna be a fan of whatever artist because of whatever at that time initially when you're a fan. But it's like over a period of time, like you should want the artist to want to like venture out and try other things and stuff like that and not put them in a box because it's like you probably had never get if people had did that to Childish Gambino, we probably would have never got Awaken My Love or whatever.
Right.
And if people would have did that with Lil Wayne when it came to like rock music and stuff like that, then we probably would have never got Rebirth. And Rebirth influenced a lot of the new generation of like artists today. Like as far as like the emo rappers and all of that shit and like rappers like Lil Uzi who be like, I'm a rock star and all of that. All of that shit is because of Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So it's like if we box artists, then we don't know like what projects that they could have possibly put out that would have been great. Or if we box artists, we don't know what other artists in the future we'd be missing out on.
True.
Yeah.
And I also feel like, I mean, in a perfect world, as an artist, like artistry, like you should want the artist to grow in whatever life experiences that they're going through, incorporating to their music. And so if you put them in a box, you're trying to hold them in a place that maybe they were in 2-3 years ago. They're not in that place no more because they've grown. You ought to want the music to reflect that and get better, you know?
Yeah.
So
and I feel like you can't expect Because I love for my artists to grow and stuff. That don't mean I think I'm gonna like everything that they try.
Oh yeah,
to
for
do.
sure. I mean,
And I feel like
that's okay too. And that's okay too. But I mean, to keep them in that place, like I mean, I feel like it's not fair to them.
Yeah.
You know, like as you grow and experiment, with music and whatever, you want your music to in a perfect world. Now, some people want to make the same music, over the course of their career, and if they're good at it, good for them. But the big artists who are artists and not just people who make music, because I feel like there's a difference there. But
there's definitely a difference there. Yeah.
And my last thing before we move on, but my last thing about this project is one of the reasons why I was so happy about this, because I was like, damn, we got a whole singing album from Drake. So it's like he in this space where he pretty much having fun doing what he want to do. So it's like we got this whole singing album. We might get a whole rap album. You know what I'm saying? We might get an album where he's only singing on 2 songs and the rest of them all rapping. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we don't know what we could get in the future, but right now I'm enjoying the music. I think it's a dope, cause I guess he called it, he said it was a summer album,
right,
which I mean, it does sound like it's for, summer album,
summer is upon
whatever
us.
Type vibes, vacation on a boat, whatever, you on the lake and shit, listen to it or whatever, you out. Female, it's all types of situations you can listen to this album, but for me, I mean, I'm enjoying the music. So.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, speaking of music artists, I don't know, we never touched on the last season of Atlanta, did we? Or did we talk about it already?
I think when we were trying to talk about it, I don't remember. I think it was Steven. He hadn't seen the last episode, so we didn't talk about it. But I saw the whole.
I'm caught up on Atlanta.
Have
Let's
you?
talk about it.
I'm all the way caught up.
Speaking of artistry,
take it away.
And stepping outside the box. So first of all, let me just say that I consider Atlanta to be one of my if the next season goes right, because I don't believe in critiquing TV shows in particular until all of it is done, because they can do stuff in the last couple seasons or have seasons in the middle that suck so bad that it ruins my you can't say everything is good.
Right.
Like How I Met Your Mother. Or that 70s show.
The Wire.
Or The Wire, right? There's so many shows I could mention. Or Supernatural. There's a lot of stuff, right? But if a show can be cannot drop too hard in quality from beginning to end, then that's when I'm like, this show is amazing, right? Stuff like Breaking Bad, right? I'm like, this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But for me, if Atlanta can come through with season 4, then it will go down as one of my favorite shows of all time. No doubt. I thought that season 3 was really experimental. I thought that the messages they had were great. I got some of the old stuff. I got some of the new stuff.
Yeah.
I touched on a lot of really good issues and everything. And I don't care what nobody said. That comedy is unmatched. Them niggas funny, bro.
For sure. For sure.
Real talk. Now I will say that I don't think every episode hit for me, but there was no episode that I was like, I wish I wouldn't have watched this.
For sure.
All of them were good.
I agree.
I just think some of them outshined the others a little bit.
For sure.
And what I'm gonna call the white narrative episodes, which I think were done for a very specific reason, and I can appreciate what he was trying to do with those. I like some of those too. I don't like all of them. I do think they're still good and interesting. I just don't like every single one of them. The reparations episode, I fuck heavy with that one.
Oh yeah, that episode was
Is that the one that
really
where the kid had the nanny and they went to the funeral?
You're talking about season 3, right?
Yeah, season 3.
He's talking about the episode where
I thought that was
black people was just walking up on random white people and your ancestors enslaved my ancestors.
Yeah. Okay.
So he had it was a daughter instead of the son.
Okay.
And, she was like, your family on my family, what's up, right?
Yeah, that shit was funny, but also it was super weird because it was the way they set it up, it was setting up this is if it went this way for black people, it was it was this would be awesome for us, but it showed the POV for white people, and the way they did it, I don't know how it was for y'all, but it low key I was feeling bad for some. I was damn, I feel bad for this nigga.
When the dude put up back at his house and they was in his yard and shit that, I'm I ain't gonna lie, I can understand. I'm not saying I can understand. Damn.
I don't believe in the whole sins of the father thing. I don't think you should pay for what your ancestors did.
Right.
Now I do think you should acknowledge what your fucking ancestors did and try to make changes to move forward, which is one of my problems with this country is that they won't even do that, right? Like the fact that a lot of people just don't think racism exists is like one of the reasons why stuff like that episode needs to be made. You know what I mean? And do I think black people should get reparations? All I'm saying is that Jewish people got reparations in Germany. I don't know. It seemed to help them. Like, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, but also, I mean, y'all might kill me for this, but Jewish niggas kind of had their shit together a little more. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like how they was gonna handle the money. They was like market. Y'all, okay, y'all might kill me for this, but y'all know damn well if you give niggas right now millions of dollars, they gonna blow that shit.
But what concern is that to the government though? It's just because to them, it wouldn't just
Not
be like
to
here,
the government,
here your
but I'm
shit,
saying
like just now leave us
not to
alone.
But maybe not so much to the government, but it's like if you think about it in the long run, it's not gonna change nothing.
I see. That's where we differ. I don't believe that.
I don't know about that much, like changing shit. But as far as like, because reparations, we're thinking of it in a monetary way. They could give us reparations maybe in a different form. Not necessarily money. Yeah. But if we're talking about money, even if they were to give us however much,
I'll take mine in stocks and bonds, please.
Okay, but if they were to give us that much money, at that point, it's on the individual.
I would love some land.
On me, I love some land.
I would too. For sure. But we were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule, but I mean, hey.
Exactly.
Yo, I don't want no motherfucking mule.
I don't want the mule, but I mean.
The only reason we have that conception that, like, niggas, quote unquote, would just blow it all is because that's sort of what everybody's brainwashed to think. You know what I mean? Not every Jewish person is good with money. You know what I'm like? It's just that, like, people judge us harder than they do, like, other people. And I just think that the loud, like, quote unquote, like, negative black people are the ones that everybody thinks of, but that's actually more of a minority of black people than anything else.
I just think that at the end of the day, it's once they give us the money, it's on the individual. If you blow it, that's on you.
Yeah, also, you should be allowed to have fun. But it ain't happening. They ain't never giving us reparations. Let me just say that.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely agree. So. Like, not all black people are gonna, like...
blow it and shit.
Yeah, or whatever. But I think that it's not so much about just, like... I think it's just, like, the mindset. It's a mindset of, like, poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like, black people aren't really, like, taught on saving money and credit and all this, like, other shit that would be really important. Investing and all of this stuff. Like,
that's true. I mean, that's slowly changing, but that's true.
It definitely is changing. But I think that, I mean, that's more where I'm coming from as far as, like, with that. I would rather, like, black people, us as a whole, like, go through more, like, education and stuff like that, and, like, stop so much thinking about, like, giving your money away. And by that I mean just blowing it on, like, making other people rich. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you mean like buying expensive
fashion,
clothes?
like materialistic things. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, if you're gonna blow your money, blow it on, like,
stuff
stocks.
that matters.
Blow your money on land. Blow your money on stuff that, like, would really hold value and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I feel you. I think that a part of my problem with that, though, is, like, I definitely, there's a part of me that agrees with you. It's just that even when they do that, like when they do invest in the right things and stuff, it's statistically proven and, like, it's systematic that they are always going to be like, we are always going to be like a step behind. You know what I mean? Like, they make it, like, way harder for you, right? Like, just on the come up. Like, it's never going to be super easy. I don't know much about, like, how the political system and stuff is working in Germany now.
Right.
But, like, I know about here, and I know that they are still actively, secretly and, like, non-secretly, like, doing everything they can to push black people down, like, as much as they can, and making sure they don't get up as much. Even when it comes to, like, small shit, right? There was a story that happened, I want to say this was last year or the year before this, where this black couple, they had, like, this amazing, beautiful home. They did renovations on it and everything, and their plan was always so they could sell it, so they could build some more generational wealth. And when they got it appraised, they appraised it, like, 80% below the fucking value, right? And they were like, that's kind of weird. But what they didn't realize is that their appraiser was white. But these weren't the type of black people to always throw out the race card and stuff. But, like, I think it was the wife. She was like, let's get a second opinion or whatever. They got somebody else to appraise it, a non-white person, and they appraised it for over $1 million. And, like, if they wouldn't have, like, done that, they would have been stuck like most black people are, right? Where they don't, get that opportunity to go to somebody else or whatever. And they would have just been lowballed. They would have sold their house for a couple $100,000. and then a white person would have came in and been able to drop it for like 3 million. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of stuff they do to us constantly. So like it makes it harder when you do want to invest in land or you do want to invest in stocks or stuff like that. There was actually a great episode of Atlanta that touches on all of this. I'm thinking about it. The white fashion episode, if you remember that one. It was the one where Al was like on that board that was supposed to be like,
oh yeah,
black people and stuff.
It's racism over.
That was my critique. That was that episode too was like one of my critiques on BLM. But before I get to that, I want to say also a big difference between the Jewish people getting reparations in Germany and shit, and between black people in America is like the only difference between big difference between Nazis and Jewish people is the belief system. All them niggas still white.
You know,
that's one of I mean, I'm just saying, like that's one of the biggest. That's still like one of the. So it was like it was probably easier
like
for them.
Pass
yeah, it's like all right, well, you know what I'm saying. Only like a main difference was just the belief system. Like one, like this group like was Jewish, and this group was probably like I don't know, like Christian. I really don't know much about Nazis or whether they're religious or whatever.
They are very religious.
Well, yeah,
that was the problem.
But in all the wrong ways. Yeah, like religious, like the Klan is religious. Just think about it like that.
I got you. Yeah, so. Oh yeah, because the Klan is basically New Age Nazi. So yeah, so it's yeah, that was just like one of the biggest differences. It's like at the end of the day, all them niggas still white. It was just like the belief system. It was just like, all right, well, we're Christian, y'all Jewish, and that was the beef. It was a religious beef. It wasn't like a racial beef. You know what I mean? Or I mean, I guess you could say that Jewish is a religion and a race. I guess.
But yeah, they're like the Hebrew people, and then like. I ain't gonna speak about all this because I don't know a whole lot about that. But like, yes, I agree. I just don't want to talk on things that I don't know a whole lot about. But yeah, so I think, but I love that. I love that episode, and I feel like Atlanta should be like required viewing, especially like I think it teaches things to black people without like making it aware to the entire audience. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that they do, and it's like we be like, oh, word, like the messages in white fashion, beautiful. I was like, yo, this is blowing my mind right now.
Like, so that's the same episode where they were at the table and they were talking about how they was gonna spend like the money or whatever. Yeah. So it was like, and I felt like one of the reasons why that episode was so great because it also shed light on the other end of BLM, which is like the people who is basically
that organization,
like, the people that organization, are making, like that make the cause like a L for us. Right?
Making money and shit, and like not even like putting it back. Like they getting donations and shit and spending it for their own personal personal lives and shit. Like they buying houses and all types of other crazy shit.
But then
with the money.
Seeing what happened to Alfred when he actually, because you know he was new to it, he didn't know how to play the game, right?
Yes.
So he came in. He did what he did. He presented the idea, and then you saw what happened when they actually did his idea, and it was like nothing that he said or nothing that it was supposed to be. But I really liked the conversation he had with the queer character, like the queer black dude, who was like, "Bro, you need to calm down. Do you know what I do when I get this money from them? I take it and I reinvest it into these other organizations that I know can actually do good work with it." And then he was like, "You made a whole ad and shit about black people." Like taking down their masters and putting money back in their community.
Do you actually think they was gonna run that shit?
Did you actually think they were gonna do that, nigga? And he was like, damn. And I was like, watching it, I was like, damn. And I can't imagine how many black artists have gotten up like there and have had that same thing happen to them.
For sure.
Music, acting, all of that, bro. I'm sure this happened to everybody. Politicians for sure, right? Like I know everybody had that thing where they were like, oh, this is still a white system that I'm working within, you know what I mean?
Right. I know y'all already did the conspiracy theory episode.
What you gonna do?
It's like that's still a thing. It's like I'll use NLE Chopper for example. Like NLE Chopper for a minute now, he's like, you know, he's been trying to open up, like using his platform to like open up black people to like meditation, eating healthy, like all this other shit, right? Yeah. And like, you know what I'm saying, trying to like evolve spiritually.
Of course.
And then it's like out of nowhere, he gets like, to me, it's like he got put on, because he ended up in a lot of trouble, like out of nowhere. So I felt like, you know, labels will like push you to go back to doing ignorant shit just so you can sell records. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's already been 100%.
Yeah,
so because that's why you got to own your master.
And think about the people who are in charge of labels. it's the old white dudes. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They don't
They
really
still
know.
have that control.
They don't really know. I mean, and of course, like you have like you have like a L.A. Reid or something like that. But I mean, he's in the minority. You know,
Right, and they don't have the same influence because these people have been in label business since before we were allowed to like drink out of the same water fountain as them.
Exactly,
You know
and so to them, they think the shit that's gonna sell is the
ultra violent,
right?
drug,
and
drug
I mean that
addiction
stuff
records.
does sell, but it's not all that we can do. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Gang records.
I mean that's the problem, but I mean but so that's good that NLE Choppa is trying to open that shit up, because I feel like, and it's the same thing that I have with BET, which we can talk about that a little later if y'all want to, but like it's just the fact that they don't acknowledge black people in every aspect. Like we do more than rap and R&B. We do country, we do rock, we do alternative pop, and I'm not gonna get into it right now, but the label owners and everything like that, it's very one-track mind, and because those systems have been in place for so long, there's a formula created, and we know what works. And if you go against this formula, we don't need you here, because we can go get somebody else who'll do what we say.
Exactly.
And I can tell y'all, I can say, as much as I love this artist, and I think he's not only one of the greatest artists, but like greatest rappers in general, in my opinion. But he was kind of like used, especially as an archetype. And that artist is Lil Wayne. Like, you look at artists now, like the thing to do, like the gimmick to do is you gotta drink, like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be off the drugs.
Lean,
you gotta
pills.
get your body tattooed from head to toe. Like, I'm seeing like kids who just started, like they're new to like music or whatever, or they just got lit and they're already covering their body fully in tattoos. Everybody gotta have a cup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As much as I love my dreads or whatever, that's also part of the archetype. Like, get some dreads, cover your body in tattoos, get the cup, get a whole bunch of jewelry on, and a music video.
1985 right now.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. So it's like, that's basically like and labels across the board are pushing that type of narrative, like
that's the formula.
The same type of like songs, like now everybody's doing like the Migos flow, you know what I'm saying, type deal, where it's like everybody's and it's like very, very the way that they've taken a lot of and this is why I like artists like, you know what I'm saying, Drake and Lil Wayne, Kanye, and all of them for stepping out the boxes, because these label owners are really, really dumbing down hip hop to the point where it's like they're trying to, it's becoming like one thing and it's all sounding the same or whatever. Everybody look the same. Everybody dressed the same. Everybody is rapping the same, putting out the same type of records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if a lot of the big people you just mentioned, this is their critique on stuff like in general. Like Snoop has said this before. Wayne has said this a lot. Like Jay-Z says it all the time. But like, and there is something to be said about this being a part of that systematic like stuff that I was talking about too, because a lot of these bigger people, especially the older artists, have admitted that behind closed doors and stuff, they don't want them. Like, they reject the uplifting music. They reject the stuff that is different, because they're like, no, right? Like, that's bad. We need this, right? Like, they do that. And it's just that these artists that we're mentioning right now, I don't really think, like, the blame can't solely, like, it's hard to just put the blame on them, because they're just trying to do what they want to do. And it's like, they get control to every single step to the point where they just keep getting shut down. And, like, the other stuff just keeps getting pushed through. You know what I'm saying? Which is why sometimes they do it like, like it's a means to an end, right? So some artists, music or otherwise, they make the music they know they have to make until they can make the music they want to make. Or like they do the movies they have to do until the movies they get to do, right? Like, I really think that, like, I'm like Tyler Perry, right? Great example, right?
Right.
He had secretly been building up to doing this whole Tyler Perry Studios thing for a really long time.
Right.
And I feel like he was super smart in his approach and the way to do it, right? And now, most of the black movies that are coming out, right, produced at Tyler Perry Studios, right? Filmed there, right? He got black people on the writing side. He got black people on the producer side. More stuff that we need more of, right? It's the small stuff, but he did like a lot so he could get to the billionaire status.
With the episode of Atlanta, like what you were saying with the black dude. It's like Tyler Perry did a whole bunch of cringy stuff that a lot of black people across the board was like, why the fuck is this nigga doing this
but
shit?
But white people loved it.
Yeah.
And you know who's the majority? White people. That's why he makes so much money.
Yeah, and it's like, why is he like making us look like a lot of people is just like, what the fuck is Tyler Perry on doing this shit?
I just think about that Boondocks episode.
On the other flip side of that coin, it's like the entire time, like the cast and crew all black, so all black people getting jobs, getting money, getting exposure, and now he's got this studio. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he did what he had to do, but yeah, overall, it's like a lot of black people were able to provide for their families because of it.
Yeah. And you could say the same thing about Lil Wayne, right?
Yes.
Like, without him, right, there would be no Drake, there would be no Nicki, right? A lot of these people, right? And just like the other super big artists that brought up other big artists, and now they're doing what they want, which like actually continues to relate to Atlanta. Wow, what a topical show. If you remember I forgot what the name of the episode was, but I call it like Woods 2 because it was all about Alfred. Like it was like Jazz, the new Jazz or some shit like that, where he got stuck in that club and he was like high like the whole time and he couldn't tell if things were real or fake. And he met that woman that and Liam Neeson was in the episode. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like his whole thing, the woman who also was supposed to be like an allegory for his dead mother, right, was asking him, "Do you know who owns your masters?" Right, which is something that I researched because I was really curious. But it's something that's commonly referred like in the industry. Whenever you make music and stuff, that's when you get to buy yourself out of your label, or like you actually do have the freedom to do your own stuff. And so at the end of the episode, he asked Earn, he was like, "Who owns my masters?" And he was like, "You do." Right, because he had grown this slight distrust of Earn and was worried about the people around him, but he found out that his cousin was down for him and that they are actually like moving forward and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, that's fucking beautiful.
That was a good episode. That was a really good episode.
Yeah.
I was I was just gonna say, but this might, I mean, it's still on the topic Atlanta, but off the topics of what we were talking about. But my favorite episode of Atlanta to this day is Dear Guts. When that nigga got lost in the woods and he ran into that homeless dude.
Oh, the woods, yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Dear Guts.
Yeah, well, that's what he was calling him, was Dear Guts. But I fucking love that episode, dude. Because that episode threw me for a fucking loop. I didn't know where it was going. I was also like on the same thing as Paper. I was like, yo, this nigga's annoying and all types of shit. But also it was crazy because it was like that homeless dude was his guide to get this nigga out the woods the whole time. Like, yeah, it was like he was playing two different roles and he was like kind of conscious of it and kind of wasn't conscious of it at the same time.
Yeah, definitely had layers to it.
Yeah, that dude, he had layers to him, and it was like he pushed him he got him out of it. Like, had it not been for him, he probably would have been wandering in the woods for days. You know what I'm saying? Stuck there. But like, he the whole time was guiding him. It was just the farm, you know what I'm saying? It was like this homeless dude who was like being annoying or whatever. It was just like, you know, the vessel, but really this whole time he was like this good dude. But man, when he put the knife to dude, I was thrown off. I was like, fuck. Like, I was probably just as shocked as dude was in the show. I was like, damn, like that shit fucked me up. It was like, man, that is crazy. Like, you might think one thing about somebody, they could be this whole other person or capable of this whole other thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just that. I just thought the episode was just great.
Nah, that's what I really love about that new Jazz episode as well. There was another episode, I don't remember the title of it, but it mostly focused on Darius. He had two episodes that, like, he had one where it was a strong subplot and the other one where it was focused on him. One was whenever he, like, you know, because he's from Nigeria in the show, right?
Yeah.
And he told that white lady about his favorite, like, restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
And then his shit got gentrified, and then, like,
turned into a food truck.
And
my god,
his heartbreak, like, dealing with that and knowing that, like, he felt responsible for it. Like, bro, they hit me so hard. I was like, yo, because, like, how many of us have tried to share something, right, with the other culture and then see them do some shit like that? And like, we've dealt with gentrification here, like quite a bit, but it's not as bad as it is in like places like Harlem and Compton, right? You know, Chicago. And I was just like, yo, that's so wild. The other episode that I actually had personal experience with, like, it hit me hard, was when they were, it was called The Old Man in the Tree episode, I think, right? Where they were in that rich white dude's party. And then, like, That woman
my
walked up
God.
to Darius and just like, she was like, oh, she said something about him being black, or she was just like, oh, I have a boyfriend, right, or something like that. He was like, it's cool, right? And then she was like, oh, just usually black guys try to hit on me. And then like every other white person there like blew it out of proportion, like if you remember. And they were
yes.
like, did you hear what she said? And by the time he was sitting on the couch with all of them around, they were like, she called him the N-word, and like she said this and this, and he was just like, what is happening? And like having your narrative stolen by the white people and like blown up so they can get attention, that performative allyship, bro. I was like, yo.
Not only that, but I'm pretty sure it was the same episode. I think it was happening to Earn, where like they was trying to get this nigga to freestyle or something, like rap. It was something, or like the white people were rapping and they tried. It was like something like that. But I had that same like similar experiences. It's like, bro, my nigga, I didn't pull up to this function to freestyle for y'all. Like, that's not what I'm here for. Like, I'm just trying to turn up, chill.
And it
you know
ruined
what
that
I'm
girl's life at the end of the episode, too. Like, her boyfriend that broke up with her and, like, all this other shit because he was like, I can't be with nobody who's racist. They were engaged. And that same episode, which is another reason why I love this episode, was when Earn encountered that. It was like that young black artist who, like, the visual artist who was just doing shit. And he was making that old white dude invest, like, hella money into him. And when he finally got alone with Earn, he was like, come on, bro. Like, if I can't get my bread like this, like what's your beef with me, right? Why you doing this? And Earn was like, well, you're taking advantage of them. And he was like, how many times are they taking advantage of us? And I was like, ooh. And like when Earn was put in that position where like, because the dude was going off of Earn if he was going to invest or not invest, and Earn decided to take advantage of him too, and the other the black kid was like, and I was like, damn, I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with this, like solidarity. Like it's weird, like I don't know, but like it's already hard enough. I don't know. That definitely has layers too, but I love that. Then there was the episode about Paperboy losing his phone.
That episode
was stressful, bro.
And then it turned out to be the dude that was with them the whole time.
Yes.
Oh my,
bro.
Yo, that shit. Yeah, that episode.
And he was the one
stressful.
going off like the most, like acting all angry when nigga, you was the one who took it.
Yeah.
But I mean, niggas like that in real life, so.
Exactly. That's why I love this show.
Yo, niggas definitely do shit like that in real life, and it's like. And that's how you could usually tell if somebody did something is because they were the ones that was more overreacting. It's like, bro, why you being, you know what I'm
Why
saying?
you acting like that?
Yeah,
protest too much.
And
okay.
And so like that, it was like that whole time that dude really just wanted to be seen or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, and just wanted that time with one of his favorite artists or whatever. But yeah, it was like. And, like, that nigga had made it seem like he was, like, down and all this other shit and the whole time. And then what really pissed me off, the nigga didn't even, not only did he not return the phone, the nigga just threw it away. It's like, bro, y'all, they went through all of that whole time. You over here acting or whatever. And it's like, my nigga, you can be like, oh, like, you couldn't even throw it under something and be like, hey, I found it right here. You just tossed it, my nigga. You didn't even, like, sell it. You didn't do nothing. You just tossed it. Bro, oh my, that shit had me fucking heated.
Yeah, I think that episode was really good character development for Paperboy. I'm really interested to see how their stories end because I know that season 4 is the last season.
What did you? Oh, go ahead, finish.
I was just gonna say like I don't know. I just really think they did something amazing with this shit. To me, this is like Atlanta. To me, is what the Boondocks used to be to me, except that Atlanta never, so far, has not gone downhill for me yet. Like. When this is the reason, like, because I used to consider Boondocks one of my favorite shows, but then they brought it back without Aaron
season 4.
They brought it back without Aaron McGruber, and it was funny because my older brother, also known as DQMC, check out his music. He started rewatching it recently, and he sent me this message, and he was so mad. He's like, "Bro, I knew season 4 was bad, but damn." I was like, "Yeah, bro, I don't know why you did that to yourself," because like. First 3 seasons, fucking amazing. Art. It's literally the same thing as in Atlanta. Like, I don't think Atlanta would exist without the Boondocks, to be real with you. But season 4 took away what made it great, and it just continued. And I can't consider it an amazing show now. I got to be like, yeah, seasons 1 through 3 are amazing. Watch those. Don't ever look at season 4, bro.
Yeah. It's funny when I actually watched the Boondocks because I unfortunately didn't watch it as a kid. I always saw it on the TV Guide and stuff like that, but I just never clicked on it.
We
never
stay up at night and sneak watch it because I wasn't allowed to.
It never dawned on me to watch it, you know. But And this is back when we were still at UALR. But I was like, you know what? It was on Hulu. I was like, I've never.
I remember this because you were
I was
talking
telling
to
you
me
about it, and I was like, I've never seen the Boondocks before. I always heard people talk about it, but I've never seen it. And like you said, seasons 1 through 3, amazing. But as soon as I got to season 4, I think I made it to one episode. And I was like, I'm not watching the rest of this
don't
season.
do it.
So I've never seen the rest of season 4.
You don't need
so.
to. It doesn't exist.
But no, seasons 1 through 3, amazing for sure.
Like also just the messages they put in, the social commentary, all of this stuff. It's like they did it through comedy really well. I do think they were less experimental on the weird side of things that like Atlanta is. But like I said, I don't think something like this could exist without something like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that. I also, that last episode of season 3 of Atlanta
with Van.
That shit through, like, I guess in a way it was just talking about how a lot of black people lose themselves in life.
Yeah,
whatever.
definitely one of the
and
things.
Also it shed light on the weird shit that women be doing when they be going to these other countries and shit, how they be getting their flights paid for and all this other shit.
I did think that was hilarious.
When she was like, I came,
I ain't even gonna knock.
Hey, man, I mean,
if I got paid millions,
if a nigga don't pay you to do that,
if I got
do
a
it.
free
Like,
trip
I mean,
and some money to go like pee on somebody, man, y'all just got to judge me.
How the fuck did we get Alexander
maybe to
Skarsgård
pee on
and
somebody,
shit?
but not to get peed
all these
on.
actors that he got, like shit.
Fuck no. That's wild.
I know all these people he getting this show.
Liam Neeson, Alexander Skarsgård, like what the fuck?
Bro.
When I saw him, I was like, is that what I think it is? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, we also gotta remember that. I mean, even when Donald Glover was younger, like he's always been tied into the industry and stuff. So
for sure.
I mean, his stardom mixed in with a lot of his connections and stuff. I'm not really that surprised that he was able to get a lot of those people. And plus, like, it's like, I mean, at this point, who the fuck wouldn't want to be on an episode of Atlanta? I mean, then they had the Migos on there.
Yeah, no, that was
I remember
like,
that.
For me, Atlanta is still like in that niche like category though. Like I don't think it's like as worldwide as stuff like the safer stuff like Blackish or you know what I'm saying? Like Fresh Prince, right? You know, Martin, right? Those have reached levels that I don't think Atlanta can reach because of what it does and because it makes too many people mad.
Well, not only that, but also I remember too, like those shows have to be like a lot because it's on a streaming service. They don't have to.
Well, it airs on FX.
Yeah, it's on FX. It's not just a streaming.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, still, I would say like, I mean, even FX, like that's still different from networks like.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah, like, FX is not like that's not considered like network television. Like,
right. It's kind of like premium. Yeah. It's kind of like a premium channel, but not really. Like it's not on the level of HBO and Stars, but it's kind of like that. So yeah,
it's like the step in between.
Right. So it's like, you know, shows like Fresh Prince and Martin, like, you know, you would get a lot of touches of like, you know, being black and stuff like that, but
they couldn't really go into it.
Yeah, they couldn't be gritty because it was like too much. It was too much of a family show.
For sure.
Like they still had to cater to family audiences. Like they had to cater to like families who would like, you know, the parents and the kids or whatever. They would sit around and watch it. You know what I'm saying? They had to clean it up a lot more. But with Atlanta, because it's not on like one of those networks or whatever. And stuff like that, like they can be a lot more like gritty and a lot more raw, you know what I mean? And a lot more authentic.
And also those were sitcoms, so like those already follow a certain style already. So, you know.
But no, this is a fantastic show. I also I wanted to ask y'all about the what do I even want to call it? I don't remember the name. I'm mad I can't remember the names of these episodes. But the Kevin Samuels episode. Let's just call it that.
Oh yeah, that episode was good.
Rich Wigga, poor Wigga.
Yes. That's what it was called.
It's funny because I looked up the actor, like the main dude in that. He like
he's mixed.
He's mixed. Like he looked white. I guess maybe because it was like in black and white. And I was like, he actually got a white actor to do this, but he's mixed. So I mean.
No, yeah. So I think this happens to more people than like people realize, but that episode was really interesting for me because I have a friend who is like literally like mulatto, like half black and half white. But if you met him, you would just call him like a white boy. And so he's had to deal with a lot of identity issues and like, you know, just an interesting like way of life because he passes for white and like his identity gets erased because he just doesn't look black, you know, just like that kid. Because I researched him too because I was interested. And he had done interview stuff where he said the same thing. It was like, yeah, you know, nobody really like considers me like, because I saw colored photos of him and stuff, you still would think he was white, right? And it's just because like, you know, how our genes work and stuff, it's not all like we can make every shade of a person,
Right.
genetically.
Right,
So like
for sure.
sometimes people like him, like Frederick Douglass when he was alive, right? I know it's hard because we usually see him in black and white photos, but he was also white passing, which is why he was able to do a lot of the stuff he could do back then. It's just like crazy because you just kind of forget that that's a thing, right? Because when most people think of mixed people, they think like clearly that's a mixed person, right? But like there are people like him that
Like J. Cole or Drake, not so much Logic.
right, not so much Logic, which is another great example, right? And it's like, damn, like it just makes you really that to me that episode and how it examined what blackness was and the like identity problems and how sometimes they want to embrace it, like what Kevin Samuel said to him, where he was like, "You've been white your whole life and now you want to be black," and like stuff like that, right? Like I was like, word. I ain't never had to deal with that.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately, I am very black and I'm very proud. Happy Juneteenth. But I ain't never been able to walk nowhere without somebody being like, "Hey, that black dude," right? Like you can't hide it, right?
Definitely know you're black for sure.
I definitely think that though, whether if you're a mixed black person and you white passing, like to me, still a nigga. Like I count you still as because
even if you don't know, I mean, if you don't know that they're mixed.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know that they're mixed, I mean, I'm still not gonna, you know what I mean? But it's like more or less like if I find out you're mixed, I'm like, oh, okay. Like no, but I don't really care because even like black people who are obviously black don't always quote unquote like act black or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like I'm like, yeah, like black people come in all shades, but you know what I'm saying? I don't mean you gotta be a certain type of way to be black or whatever.
We're not a monolith.
Yeah, we are not a monolith, and we should not be put into a box of what blackness is, even though that's why I'm happy that more black filmmakers get to make things now, because I'm tired of black characters being super one note. But like I do think so. I took a African American literature class when I was still in college, and like we discussed how race was made up and how like, you know, blackness and these things, like they're not real, right? Like it's just shit that people have made up and that perpetuates over time. So like that guy, Logic, people like them, right, that do pass for white, they can, right, like do that, and their experience in walking through the world is different. You know what I mean? Similar to like how people like Cardi B, who has like Hispanic roots and stuff, is just considered a black woman, right? Like off top, right? People like Bruno Mars, right? A little bit more ambiguous, right? Like, you know, they can do that, right? So to me, like whether I consider somebody quote unquote black, it most of the time just has to do with like their experiences and stuff rather than what their like buildup is, if that makes sense. Because if you're white passing and nobody knew what your ethnicity was, you could really benefit from that system all your life. And nobody, like that kid did in the episode of Atlanta. And it's like, are they black or like what's going on here, right? Just like how they're like, well, no, there aren't any really like black passing white people. Never mind. But like that's my thing. Is like it just their experiences and stuff are just different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because it makes you think more about
Rachel Dolezal.
what it is. Nope.
Hey, she was a nigga for how long?
I'm gonna skip over that. Go back to
she fooled all niggas. Like she fooled the whole like generations of black people.
I want everybody to know that is the only like belief and identity thing that I will never respect. If anybody comes up to me talking about they transracial, I will talk bad to them. I will never. I'm
not even gonna get into that. But I think that as far as like
Mexican.
well, you can do that because Mexican isn't a race, Daryl. It's a nationality. So there are black
people
Mexicans.
Call themselves Mexican.
Yes, because that's their nationality. Just like we're Americans. It's not a race.
I identify as Latino.
You can still be that. I'm not about to get into this conversation. This is a whole different conversation. But just on the thing of mixed people. So it's crazy because growing up, and I wasn't really around many mixed people growing up, other than the people I guess I went to school with and stuff like that. And every mixed person that I was around, they always considered themselves black. Like, that's what they said. That wasn't what I put on them. That's what they said. It wasn't until I got older, like to college and stuff like that, where I got around, you know, more mixed people, mixed with black and white, because you can be mixed with other stuff, but mixed with black and white people, that some mixed people don't always just consider themselves black. A lot of them are like, I'm white and I'm black. I don't want you just calling me black because I'm not just black. So that's something that I always, you know, now that's something that I take into consideration when, you know, I guess talking about identity and stuff like that, because I'm not mixed. I don't know, you know, what that struggle is like, you know, the whole too white for the black kids, too black or whatever the fuck. But anyways,
I know you're going with.
So I don't know what that struggle's like, so I mean I can't comment on it. But just on the conversation of identity, I always try to keep that in mind. Not every mixed person, because I was just thinking about what you said. Whenever you find out somebody's like mixed with black, it's like, oh well, but not all of them think of themselves that way. So
yeah, which is that's how it is.
And that's okay. I mean they're not wrong. They're not all black, but I'm just saying. I let them tell me,
when
because
the sister find out, you be like, they gonna.
I've actually heard
that's always the argument. I've
actually heard like mixed black people, even questioning on whether or not like they could say nigga. Like that was like a real thing for them. Like I've heard that too. I've heard them like say.
I mean, there are like non-mixed black people who have put that question on them. Like they question their blackness, and it, like, you know, they get in trouble for saying the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen it happen in real time.
I mean, do we want Logic saying nigga? But Drake and J. Cole are mixed, and they say nigga all the time.
But honestly though,
exactly, it's appearance.
Drake,
so, I mean,
yeah, but also Drake and J. Cole definitely make it apparent. Like, yeah, they're light skinned, but they definitely like, I'm black. Like they definitely like, even like Drake, like this nigga's like half white, this nigga's Jewish, like all types of shit, Canadian, and he's still like, yeah, I'm still a nigga.
Yeah, but that's my thing, is just because it's literally just an appearance thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If Logic looked slightly differently or did things to his appearance before he got bigged, or he could look like that, nobody would give a fuck. All right? Nobody gives a shit when like Cardi B says nigga, and I mean, you could also question her blackness, right? If you wanted to.
People have.
And people,
but I mean,
it doesn't get anywhere because she looks like a black woman,
exactly.
right? You could do the same thing to people like. There's some other good examples. Definitely any like Afro Latino person,
or even not even
Hispanic
like
person, or even just a normal Hispanic person.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like, or even like Asian, like
other minorities
are like minorities in general across the board are like, I'm a minority, so I'm gonna say nigga.
Yeah, I've heard
just go to New York
many a time. Yeah, like it just, and really, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't really care. I do not be caring too much. Yeah. Right? Now I will say, if you throw a hard ER my way, you might find the fist coming back. But like that's different. But like in general, I can't control what people say. I think I feel differently about it now as I get older, about the whole like N-word thing. But like, people are gonna do what they want to do. I just tell people I can't protect you from no other black people.
Yeah,
so like, don't you get careless just because you said it around me and I just shrugged my shoulders and now you out in public and you getting jumped. Because I might not stop you.
See,
but they gonna be like, hey, but my friend Trey said it was okay.
I'm on the same wave. I'm on the same wave. Like,
nah.
I don't really care, but it's also like, hey, I can't stop other people from doing shit to you if they don't like that you saying it. But also, my one thing that I really, really hate is if you say nigga, but you only say it around me. You know what I mean? Like,
you're that
if you like pick me out,
you're that
and like
friend.
you saying it around me, but like you wouldn't say it around other black, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna need you to stop saying it. If you're not gonna
like
just
Donald
say
Glover's
it.
Character in Atlanta.
I remember that episode. But for me, I mean, unfortunately, I've been put in situations in the past with former friends where, you know, that situation has come up. And the first time it happened to me, because you never know how you'll react to something until it happens.
Yeah.
But the first time it happened to me, I mean, I wasn't even mad. I was just like, can you not say it around me? That's all I said. I didn't flip a table or anything like that. And that's all I asked really of any of my whiter non-black friends. I don't want them saying it around me. Now, I'm not going to, you know, be the person to be like, you can't do this and that. You know, I'm not your mom. Whatever you do in the confines of your car, your own home, when you rapping a song, I can't stop you from doing that. But when you're around me, all I ask is that you don't say it, you know? And Yeah, I mean, I've had a few people try to say it
Yeah,
around
I
me.
feel you. I
like
think
that, but,
for me,
you know,
it's also just more of like a respect thing.
Same.
Because there are differences. Like, you can feel it. We can feel it when people are saying the words and how they mean it, like, differently. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, for sure.
Like,
You can hear tone of voice.
yeah, you can hear it. You can feel it,
Sure.
bro. Like, it's different shit. When black people are calling me nigga, they usually not doing it in any derogatory term at all, right? Like,
Right.
it's just a word that they're using. They could switch it out for any other word.
Yeah.
I'll get more upset about them calling me like a bitch or something, because when they put power behind that, you know what I mean?
You mean that,
Now
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ready to fight, right? Like,
Exactly.
because they do that. But like the people that do want to say it that bad, right? Like, it's just like you can feel it, bro. Like they pulling their ancestors' energy from that, right? They, nigga, right? Like, they be happy, right? Like they're feeling it. Because I've also met white people that have no urge to say it whatsoever. Like, they good. They got so many. They like literally one of them was like, I got a lot of other words to use. I just don't really understand why we use that one. Like, it's I don't know. Who cares, right?
I've actually had white. This was like years and years. This is probably like maybe like 10 plus years ago or whatever. But I've actually had white people that I was really cool with, and I was like, bro, say it one time. And they would not do. I'm like, no. It's like, just say it like one time. It's cool. You just with me. Like, say it one time, bro. You know you want to say it. Say it one time. And they
He
would
didn't
not.
get people in trouble.
They would not, and they just wouldn't do it because they.
Now, when they
genuinely
get
didn't-
jumped, though.
yeah, they had no urge.
No,
They had no
that's-
urge
yeah,
to say
exactly.
it or didn't even care. It was like they just legit did not care about
Yeah.
saying. I was like, all right, I fuck with you.
But no, like, in general.
Now, how would you feel if they would have said it?
Well, I mean, I told them to, so it's like not like I could
yeah.
get mad. Like, I'm not about to be like, what? You actually said it? They'd be like,
I know,
"No,
I do
you
know,
told me
I
to."
do know
yeah.
niggas like that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, bro,
for sure,
you
for
got
sure.
problems.
Yeah.
But no, like, in general, I just don't want to be disrespected by anybody. Like, I don't even like my black friends calling me nigga in like a negative way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, be careful how you call me out my name in general. But there are different rules for like white people and shit. It's just that I'm not about to get up and beat your ass just because you said the N-word.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
know?
Yeah.
I'm a little above that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think, honestly, too, I think I'd probably be more upset if somebody called me a coon than a nigga.
That coon is a powerful word.
Yo, that shit.
But that, I mean, of course, I would definitely be more upset. But I mean, assuming that would come from another black person and not because a white person calling me a
that's the
coon
thing,
is
if it
wild.
comes- it's
But if another black person called me a coon, like that cuts deep because it's like we on the same team here.
If a white
And,
person called me a coon, I would just laugh.
I would
I've
be
also like
I'd be
joked
highly
around.
confused.
I've
be
joked
highly
around with
confused.
other black people like using racial slurs and shit like coon, but it's like
Like,
yeah, but I'm
don't
saying
care.
like it's like I don't know how it was for y'all, but like for me it was like a whole thing like to imitate like racist people. Like that was like a thing. Like not like
Yeah, no,
That was like joke, yeah. I
like
mean,
like me and my brother was just like joke around sometimes. Like we'd be like two cops, and we'd be like, "Hey, where you boys heading off to?" You know what I'm saying? Like we just like
yeah, I think everybody. I
that
think
was
everybody.
just-
We've all
that is
done
a
that.
shared experience through all of us.
Yeah, I think we all done
I think
that.
we all have done that.
We've all done that. So
I would even argue that's a minority thing and not just a black thing.
For
Like,
sure.
I do it with my other friends too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sure.
nah, I just think that Atlanta has a lot of topical stuff, and I think this season was still great. It got a lot of criticism, but so did season 2, and so did season 1. You can't please everybody. And I'm
Exactly.
glad that they don't give a fuck and they still doing them, because
course.
I remember seeing a statement from Donald Glover where like he even put in like the episode descriptions of like on Hulu. I was laughing every time I
Yeah.
read one of them. He was like, another political episode. Oh my God, I missed season 1. and at the end he was just like, shut up. And I'm like, damn, this man don't give a fuck about that. I love it. I love it, bro.
Yeah.
Keep making the art you want to make, and just, you know,
Again, that's what
Can't wait to
happens
work
when you
with
don't box people in.
Exactly.
You get greatness like Atlanta.
shit, I'm trying to get that season 4 casting call. That's what I'm trying to do. No doubt.
what?
Yeah, I mean that would be a great look. I ain't gonna lie. On the episode of Atlanta would be
Shit.
an amazing look.
For
Watch
sure.
me, bro. If I trust me, bro.
All American too?
Listen.
What y'all want to talk about next?
Wait,
Also-
what? I know this ain't what I'm reading about this nigga. Wait, before I switch to this nigga, because this topic is wild. Let's talk about, I guess, I mean, we kind of moved on from music, but anybody want to talk about
I mean, we can, but
okay, well, Beyonce announced a new album. All right, next.
Surprise album.
not all right next. I mean, we ain't got to spend time on it, but he's being dismissive. I actually want to hear this album. I'm interested to hear what it sounds like.
I wanted a Rihanna album, but hey, it is what it is.
And you should give that up. So, I mean,
Yo,
it ain't happening.
How come I can't get what I want, but Beyonce fans get what they want?
Nigga, who cares? Like,
I care.
Comparison here.
I want a new Rihanna.
That's just like saying how come for years Drake fans got what they want, but Kendrick fans
Exactly, because that's the artist's decision. Like, I mean,
yeah,
The reason why I need
what you mad at Beyonce
the
for?
reason why I need
Go
Rihanna.
find Rihanna. And be
Exactly,
mad,
go
all right?
talk to her.
It's literally the only reason.
Rihanna, the only person that makes better dancehall music than Drake.
I mean, that's certainly an
Okay.
argument to be had. I
Okay.
can't speak on that, but
I mean, to me, she makes better dancehall music, but I mean, people could say they neck and neck or whatever, but I don't know. Why Rihanna? You know
Look,
what I mean?
Rihanna
Rihanna doing what she want to do.
You
if you're
out here
hearing this,
leaving
Rihanna,
niggas
Shabazz
high and
is
dry.
very disappointed.
I'm very
I know you don't give a
disappointed.
fuck.
I know she doesn't give
Congratulations on your baby and your
Exactly.
billionaire status.
Exactly.
Hope to work with you one day as well.
I hope all of this inspire an album.
It's not gonna.
The fuck? I hope your billionaire status, your baby. I hope A$AP Rocky, Fenty. I hope all of this shit is inspiring music. Because if it's not, then what was it all for, Rihanna?
Her life. Bro, anyways, moving on. What was the next topic that y'all wanted to talk about?
Just because I don't think it's gonna be topical, I want this to be our last thing because it is getting late. But Ezra Miller is back, man. Ezra Miller is back, and he's still a menace. And honestly, this time is not as funny to me because the things that he's accused of doing have gotten like a lot darker. And I'm very.
I just want to start this off by saying that DC has said that he's not going to be, or they're not going to be
Damn,
a part
it took
of
this long?
any more future.
DC.
Now,
This is his
they're
fifth
going to put out the
offense.
Flash movie, but they said after the Flash, he's done.
He's still doing the movie?
He's still. Bro,
Yes,
they already
you
started
know how much
production.
money they got invested in
They
this
gonna
movie?
lose. They already losing so much.
Exactly.
I get it from
after the Flash, Ezra's
the
done.
problem is it's gonna bomb because of this now. Like
People were saying, what if they like instead of sending it to theaters, what if they just put it on like streaming services or something like that?
I doubt it. Highly doubt it. They already losing too much money. Already, bro.
But what if? Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
I still think it's possible because here's the problem. He has proven to me. My bad. They, because those are their pronouns. Ezra Miller has proven to me multiple times that they will not stop. Right? So I don't even know if this will be their last offense.
What was the most recent thing?
The most recent thing was that they were accused of grooming a child from the age of 12 or 13 years old up until now. They were only like 16 or 17. He went to their house, sat with their parents, and then like basically like was trying to give them money. He attacked their parents, and they were like, "Why do you have this relationship with our daughter? Like, this is really weird." And he was like, I mean, they were telling him like, you know, the type of clothes they should wear and like all this other weird stuff. I listened to the whole thing, and it was honestly disgusting. And they tried to fight their parents, and their parents had to put out an order to try to get like to basically put a restraining order out on Ezra Miller because they fear for
Where
their
did they
child.
even meet?
Because
Like-
they disappeared. They met at a protest for the pipeline, if you remember when all that was going down.
The Native
Yeah.
American.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wait, Ezra and the parents met?
No. Ezra and his
the
child
kid-
met.
the
Because the
kid,
kid is of Native American descent as well.
Yo, Ezra.
That's nasty. I
Nigga.
feel like that's like.
And then they
that's
started
like
their
nasty.
relationship.
That's really nasty. I don't
which-
like that.
It's
Ezra.
not confirmed that he did anything sexual with them, but like, even if he didn't, this is just, I do not like any of this. Like, this is just terrible.
Ezra, you
and-
need your ass whooped, nigga.
Yeah, they
You need your
are,
ass whooped bad.
I agree for sure.
you know, they're accusing him of grooming, of brainwashing, all this other stuff. And like, they couldn't find their child for a long time. And apparently, I think, if I remember correctly, they were with Ezra Miller, like, and they just didn't know where their child was and stuff. Just a bunch of really messed up stuff, man. I can link y'all in the video if y'all want to like learn more about it specifically.
you can
because-
send it to me, and I'll probably
but-
watch it later.
Whew, yeah. And this is after, again, let's remember,
Wreaking havoc on Hawaii.
yes, like multiple offenses. This is not like the only offense that they have had. Like, what needs to happen? But again, I think that Ezra Miller, one of the things that the people I was watching about explaining is that like one of the big problems is that Ezra Miller does identify as non-binary, and they were saying that one of the conspiracy theories right now is that because that they are a non-binary, like they're trying to use that to continue to get away with stuff. and that it's possible that they might not actually be non-binary, and they're just using that to make those people look bad.
Okay.
It's something that does happen like often. So I'm not saying it's completely out of the question, but also the people who hate anybody in the LGBT plus community is definitely using this to like fuel like all of their like, you know, fucked up propaganda about like, oh, all gay people are groomers, oh, all like queer people are terrible and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that. I hate that for the queer community that they got to deal with this motherfucker, right? Like, it just pisses me off.
I feel like every community got that one.
We do, bro. Everybody does.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, why y'all gotta look like me? Like, why y'all gotta be like me, bro?
I mean, like, that's how black people felt like with Juicy Smouye. Exactly.
They are just the new Juicy Smouye, like Nike.
Damn.
Except, honestly, Juicy ain't even do all this, bro.
I was about to say,
I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Well, no, not this. Like, Juicy lied. And it was like a wild lie, but I mean a really, really wild ass lie. For sure. But I mean to the point where niggas across the board already was like, this nigga sound like you lying. When that story
first broke, even when it first broke, people was like, hold on.
Nah,
some of this shit don't add up.
Who was from Chicago, and they were like, hey, like, and I heard it, and I wanted to be all pro-black. You know how I am. I wanted to be all over, and I was like, let me wait to see how this pans out before I start showing support.
For sure. No, but Ezra Miller, I don't. Real talk. Why do y'all think it took so long for DC to even address this?
So I got 3 reasons for you. 1, Ezra Miller is rich. Rich people live by a completely different set of rules than everybody else does. 2, actually, this should be number 1. Ezra Miller is white. Whether like they have native descent or whatever in them, they are a white person and they live their life like that. And as we have been proven time and time and time again, white people can get away with whatever the fuck they want to, especially white people who can pass as a male. I know that they do not identify as a male, but they pass as a male. And rich, white, passing as a male, that's the trifecta. Those are the infinity stones you need in America to do whatever you want to do.
Infinity stones.
All right. The third reason is because they have been a kind of a fat L for a long time. Like, think about it. First, they started losing money on all their properties, right? People were mad at the specifically with DC stuff, right? Which really is just Warner Brothers, but like, they were taking, and Warner Bros. Is taking L's on more than just DC stuff, but let's focus on that. They took an L with Batman v Superman. They took a fat big boy L with Justice League, right? Then people got mad and wanted to come out with the Snyder Cut. They didn't want to do that. People got mad at them for that. They took an even fatter L with Suicide Squad, right? They finally got one dub. They got one dub with the Wonder Woman movie, the first one. It was great. They were on cloud 9 for a little bit. They took they didn't take an L, but they didn't win with Aquaman or with Shazam. And then
they didn't win with Shazam, though?
They didn't really win. It did well, but it didn't do like any Marvel numbers.
I like Shazam. I thought it was good.
Compare it to.
I wish they would stop doing, but
they had Aquaman. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then they took an even fatter L because they fucked up. They made Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman 1984
trash
was a fat L for them, right?
Trash.
And then they did the Suicide Squad, and it was like, okay, this is doing better, right?
That was good.
Is fine.
Yeah.
The Batman was a big dub for them. The Joker movie was a dub for them. But they still had a lot hinging on this Flash movie because right now what's hot is cinematic universes. Where have they failed the most? Cinematic universes. Henry Cavill don't want to come back. Ben Affleck don't want to come back. Like we don't even know if Gal Gadot's gonna stay. Like they got a lot of stuff going on. So from what I understand, the Flash movie was supposed to be a reboot. He was gonna run back in time like he does in the comics and do Flashpoint, and they would be able to switch out certain things and keep who they wanted to and not, because story-wise it would make sense. Casual viewers wouldn't mind. Boom, multiverse is hot right now too. So boom, they get a new start. But they started taking a fat L because they had the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing going on. Now, if you remember, Amber Heard is a really big star in their franchise for the Justice League and Aquaman in particular. because she
It's
plays the
big,
love interest in
but-
Aquaman. That's a big
Not
hit for them.
anymore.
Because the public,
apparently she got edited out
Yeah,
of Aquaman too.
the
So
public opinion of her, at first it was on her side, so they were like, we might be good. Now it's not good.
Damn,
I know they got a
DC.
lot of Aquaman.
she got edited
fans
out
today.
of Aquaman too.
Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
got
sure.
it, and
so.
that's a fat L for them because that's a
God
lot of
damn,
money, bro.
DC.
It's a lot of money, a lot of movie.
Because she
Probably.
already was paid.
DC, holla at your boy for the Static Shock movie because y'all niggas is going through it.
And then, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, all those other people stepped back. They had all the controversy with Ray Fisher, right?
That was a bad look.
That was a bad move for them. And now, after all the Amber Heard stuff, Ezra Miller starts getting into trouble. He gets into more trouble. He gets into more trouble. Financially, I just personally think maybe they were tired of taking. They were like, maybe we can salvage this because they had already started production on the movie.
You know,
Once you do start production on a movie, you are already spending millions of dollars to create it, right? But even before you get to post production, to their dismay, they did not stop. Ezra Miller was on a rampage that is continuing, and it sounds like honestly every time that a new story breaks, it gets worse and worse. I actually feel like that we gonna be chilling like a couple weeks from now or something, and God forbid they just like, yeah, he murdered somebody. I mean, they murdered somebody. Like, holy shit, right? Or like Ezra Miller just robbed the bank. Like, it's gonna be something crazier because it just keeps getting crazier.
to be honest, like
Yeah.
also the DC universe, comic, movie, whatever, or DC in general, it has this dark aspect to it. So it's like y'all niggas getting what y'all what y'all initially was starting, like with all this dark shit, like especially like Batman and shit. But also I feel like one of the L's, I feel like DC started their downhill slope when they tried to mimic Marvel and like
They did.
For
like
sure.
They were
try-
doing so. They were doing fine before
They
that.
didn't need to do the Justice League
So
or at
soon.
least so soon.
There was
Like,
no build up.
Yeah.
they should have
They wanted a shortcut.
they needed to they should have milked the Superman reboot. Y'all should have
should
made
have.
like 2 or 3 Superman movies just like, you know what I'm saying? You could have thrown just more like, I don't know, Superman villains or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, no, they had a lot of options.
they had so much they could have did, and the Superman movie was so good,
People
especially
do like that one.
my opinion, every Superman before that one was straight cheeks, nigga. I'm talking about, I finally got a Superman movie that felt like a Superman movie, and I was like, hell yeah. Cause man, what was it before? What was it? The Christopher Reeve Superman? Like,
Now, before that, there was a very short-lived. I don't remember his name. I think it's Tom Ellis, Superman.
Was it Brandon Routh?
Brandon Routh. Sorry.
Yeah, Brandon
was
Routh.
Superman. Tom Ellis is the dude from Smallville. Brandon Routh was Superman in 2003 in the movie Superman Returns.
is that the one where like the most interesting part of that movie was like watching a bullet bounce off his eye?
I think so.
Yeah, trash.
That movie, if I remember correctly, was very boring.
It's like, nigga,
He
now
was mostly just chilling.
yeah, and it was like that shit was super trash because it's like y'all downplaying Superman to the point where he's doing shit where like regular niggas in the new Marvel movies can do. It's like niggas is wearing like, they got like suits or whatever that can repel bullets.
Now, yeah, I do think their big mistake was like, which happens to a lot of people. They try to imitate, but they don't do it the same way because they think they can fast track it.
I think
they knew that cinematic universes were hot, so
Yeah.
they wanted to jumpstart theirs. And they weren't the only company that did this, and they weren't the only company that failed. Some were a little bit more successful, and some were not. Right, like they call it the MonsterVerse, right?
You're right.
The one with King Kong and Godzilla and all of that. That was one of the more successful ones. Not as successful as Marvel or anything, but hey, they got like 5 movies in their little franchise. People decently like them, but they know that people just coming to watch big monsters slap shit out of each other, so it ain't that big of a deal, right? Super popcorn movie. They tried to make a different like MonsterVerse where it was like Frankenstein, Dracula, all the like really old monsters that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But it failed because like they made a Frankenstein movie, it did really poorly. They made a Dracula movie called Dracula Untold. It is super poorly. I actually watched that one. Don't watch it. It's really bad. And then they remade The Mummy, which was also a part of that universe with Tom Cruise. And I heard that movie was big boy whack. Like, I did not want to watch that.
I watched the old Mummy. I like the
Nothing
old
beats
Mummy,
Brendan Fraser.
movies.
Them movies are good.
Yeah, like, especially
I love all
like,
3 movies.
what was it? Scorpion King.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved. I
With The
fucking
Rock,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
He
Mummy.
couldn't act back then, but that was still a fun movie.
Yo, I love
Well,
that
one
shit
could
so
argue.
much. I had the video game. I had the Mummy video game. Like I was really fucking
it
with
was
that.
great.
Yeah.
But that's what happened is that they were trying to do that. It's just that DC they put more money and time into trying to make this happen, and they did it way faster than anybody tried to do it.
They just wanted to
v
beat
Superman
Marvel.
Tried to be 4 movies in one movie. It was supposed to be a Batman origin movie, a Superman sequel, a Wonder Woman origin movie, a goddamn Justice League startup movie in one movie, and it failed on all 4 counts.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't successful in any of it
Yeah.
because they jumped around trying to do all 4 things. Like, I will
Trash.
never be more upset than watching this dude open files on his computer with each of the superhero logos. If I tell you that pissed me off so much, bro, Batman was sitting at his computer. He was like, Cyborg.
Yeah, and it was like, what?
Flash.
Nigga? Where is this coming from?
I was
Yeah,
like,
it's like
what?
this nigga automatically was already tracking these niggas and shit. It's like, okay, my nigga, like,
And then Wonder Woman shows
like,
up in the last 15 minutes of the movie. Is she with you? I thought she was with you. That's it. That's the whole conversation. And then they fight together.
I will say, as good as I thought the first Wonder Woman movie was, I hated the ending.
Yeah,
Steppenwolf-
I think
that
they
shit-
dropped the ball a little bit in the end.
It's
of the
like,
Wonder Woman.
yo, the movie would have been good had that nigga just been like a myth or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
it would've been really
was
cool.
like when they made him an actual. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I hated that.
It was
ending.
real lazy.
But
I hated it. They were doing like it was like somebody wrote Wonder Woman and then somebody else came in like towards like in like
Yes.
he was like, oh, I gotta go on vacation. My bad. I'm gonna come back and write the last 15 pages when I get back. And while he was gone, they were like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And just a completely different person finished the movie. That's what it felt like.
Just like how it felt like with Star Wars, which is like
I never
Marvel's
watched.
version.
I'm not
that's
the whole
yeah.
Star
that's
Wars fan.
Marvel's L. Well,
You mean
the-
Disney's L, huh?
Yeah. It's like the fucking Star Wars episode. Let's see here. Episode 7 was really good. Force Awakens was really good. Had me hype. I'm like, damn, this is the direction they going with Star Wars. And then episode 8 dropped. And I was like, the fuck is going on? Like, they had all types of shit going on. Princess Leia's using the Force now. It was weird. This bitch survived the vacuum of space. I was like, I hate this movie. And then the J.J. Abrams came back, I guess, in episode 9 and was trying to fix it, stitch it back up. Didn't work. And it was like, all right, well, y'all niggas killed Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think they hadn't gotten rid of Ezra Miller. Those 3 reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them has more power than the other. The white one. But,
okay.
Also, another one of
We'll
my
see what they
critiques
do.
with just superhero movies in general, or any movie that's based off of like, you know, like a cartoon or a comic book or something like that. It's like, just because you can make a movie, don't mean you can like make a movie based. It's like y'all gotta like know more about it. It's like when Dragon Ball Evolution came out.
We don't talk about that.
Them niggas clearly knew nothing about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, we don't
Clearly, you know what I mean? And it's like, god damn, like y'all niggas can't watch a couple episodes or something. Like fuck, like
yeah, now being familiar with the source material is something that I feel like is a really underrated, easy thing to do to like understand an adaptation, you know?
yeah. And I feel like that's what Marvel fixed and made a lot of their audience happy, is that they got a whole bunch of people on board to make sure like even with like Easter eggs and all this other stuff, like they made sure to cater to like the comic book fans and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, fan service is important.
Yeah. And also
sure.
like yeah.
Speaking of fan service, we just gave y'all a lot of it.
For sure. Definitely. And I feel like it's still a lot that we didn't get to.
That's true.
I kind of wanted to talk about sports, but damn.
Oh yeah. Shout out Golden State winning the finals.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
get into it next time.
As a LeBron fan, I hate
I-
the Warriors and the Celtics. So
I mean, I don't hate neither one. I will say though,
Fuck-
and we can
fuck
talk
them
about this
niggas.
next time because we just don't have
unless
time.
LeBron go to the team, then I'll rep him.
Hell no. I do want to talk about this next time. So I'm saying it that way. It's on tape. I want to have the discussion. Is Steph Curry in the GOAT conversation?
I'ma say
4 rings in the last 8 years.
I mean, I definitely have a lot of. I mean, because of LeBron, it's like, yeah, it's like that friendly rivalry. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
fuck
for
them
sure.
niggas, shit like that. But it's like, overall, it's like real life as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely got a lot of respect for Steph Curry. I mean, won all his rings on the same team.
Yep.
Got 4 just like LeBron.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just how could you?
Is he
not
the greatest
respect
point
it?
guard of all time?
That I would have to come back to. I mean, definitely, undeniably
Let's
the greatest.
think about that.
The greatest 3-point shooter
Greatest
of all
shooter for
time.
sure. And it's funny.
For sure.
Yeah, it's funny because
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, you.
I was gonna say, cause back when I used to play basketball a long, long time ago, I was a 3-point shooter. I
Okay.
always reminisce on those days. But
That was
anyways,
probably like the only thing.
but
I was
I
good
only
at,
paid
honestly,
attention
in
when I was
basketball
watching games.
threes.
It's probably why my basketball IQ wasn't that great because I was only paying attention to the 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys that could really shoot the 3, Ray Allen, Jameer Nelson, all those guys like that could shoot the 3. Ray Allen has always been my
Reggie
favorite shooter, and so I mean Steph surpassed him a while ago.
All them niggas for sure.
For sure. So he's definitely, I consider him the greatest shooter of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Greatest point guard, that's a debate that we can have
Yeah.
for sure. But as far as being in the GOAT conversation, I mean, if we're talking rings, I mean, he got 4. You know, is he in the conversation with Mike
think-
and LeBron and Kobe?
That's when it.
Get to it, but y'all get into it.
That's when.
I mean, no, we about to end it for sure. We about to
That's
end
when.
it, but-
That's when you gotta. That's when people start getting into like other stats. You know what I
For
mean? It's
sure.
like, yeah, undeniably, Steph is the greatest 3-point shooter. But like to get into like the GOAT conversation.
he only got
or,
one
like,
Finals
the
MVP.
great-
He just won this
Yeah.
year. So
Again, like when it comes to like the greatest point guard or like the GOAT conversation, it's like that's when you got to start bringing up other stats and shit like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's like cats like LeBron and Jordan and even Kobe. It's like they weren't just good 3-point shooters. You know what I'm saying? They did a lot of other shit.
they,
You know what
they
I'm saying?
facilitated
Like,
the game.
yes, it's like, you know what I mean? To say if Steph is the greatest point guard, it's like, well, now you got to line him up against niggas like Magic Johnson and shit. You know what I'm saying? And which, exactly. So it's like, yeah, you're a better
Magic
3-point shooter than Magic. But when it
boy.
comes to like the actual role of a point guard, does he
Let's
stack
talk-
up? Like that's a
exactly,
whole nother
exactly.
debate
So-
or whatever that I guess we could have another day.
I still think Tony Parker doesn't get his just due, but yeah, we already talked about that.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I was agreeing with you like,
But yeah, we can end it. That was just some, fan shit. But thanks thanks everybody for listening. Like I said, we didn't get to a lot of stuff, but I know the next one we probably gonna get to a lot of stuff. So Steven should be back next time. So
yeah.
that'll be cool. But yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. See y'all next time.